Okay. Teach players how to hold the football properly. I'm in a new program where, some of our guys don't get a whole lot of teaching at the lower levels. And so, we're going to start fall camp or really spring in ball security mode as far as taking care of it. So one thing we're going to do is just start with teaching them how to hold it. Not to say that it's right, stolen everything I've learned, but we feel like there's 6 points of pressure. One of the things with the football is when we clamp it with our index and our middle finger, we have the tip, and the tip of the ball is a point of emphasis, and that's a pressure point. But when we carry the ball, we always want to be able to press the bladder and not a seam. Kids don't even understand that you can't press a seam as far as a seam would be with a football, but you can press the bladder even if it's aired up properly. And so when we tell them, when you look down, if you see an X, you're right on. If you don't see an X and you see a cross, God saves, but he can't save you from fumbling the football, which we don't like to talk about. And so therefore, we want you to rotate it to an X so that you can press a seam. And so when I talk about fingers, it's an X, not a cross. And we tell them, peek down, do you have an X? Do you have an X? Where's your X? Or if I say, where's your X? They're going to know they got to rotate it just a little bit to press that bladder. And so you got that pressure point. You got your palm of your hand with a pressure point, and you got your wrist. So we emphasize those three. And when we do, ball punch and different things with them, we want to focus on that wrist and that hand to see if they're not properly having it secured. From the fingers of your X to your palm to your wrist, you go to your forearm, and from your forearm, can you press a bladder? If you can't press a bladder, then you're holding it incorrectly. And so it should be instinctive that they can feel the bladder and feel a seam. And if you feel a seam, then you got to move it a tad so that you have pressure on the bladder. And you want to have pressure on the bladder the whole time. Those are things in which can be learned at an early age that they can fix real quick. So we got fingers, palm, wrist, forearm. Elbow is when your elbow's tight. Of course, they can't punch from behind. And then, of course, your rib cage is 6. That's the bladder. You may have more. We come up with 6, and those are the 6 that we focus on. The picture I have of a kid there, he's got it in what we call a pin position, and he's got his clamp. I always make big time issues of pictures in newspaper or pictures that people take that we can post in the locker room that we can circle whether or not he has ball security. And if he's listened to the 6 things that we've taught him on how to hold it, it's got to become instinctive. And some kids aren't comfortable with the football, and if they aren't, then they don't need to be running the ball. And so that's just a major point of what we do. We don't make a big deal when we're practicing if somebody does, not take care of the football properly, or if it's a drop here or there. We don't practice getting on it real quick because I never want to be real good at getting on a ball that's on the ground from offensive side. We shouldn't have to do that. And a lot of people say, get on it, get on it, get on it. That drives me bananas because you don't want to be good at getting on it. You need to get the ball off the ground and go back and execute a play to get reps in for that week. But anyhow, ball pressure, 6 points of pressure from fingers, palm, wrist, forearm, elbow, rib cage. Do you have an X, not a cross? And you need to learn to feel the press of bladder. From there, there's 3 positions that we teach when we talk about holding a football. And, number one, we're going to teach our players to tuck it. And, you're going to have your X. You're going to be able to press the bladder. Most of us know that our arms control our legs. Our legs don't control our arms. So you got to be able to hold your arms in a position that can activate your shoulder activation so that your shoulder movement controls your knee lift. So your right shoulder controls your left knee. That's how synchronization works. And so what we call a tuck position, we're just going to stand on the sideline and we're just going to move our arms back and forth. And I've got a video of some kids we pulled out last week that when we went outside, the field not even marked, people were on the turf. So we went off to the side and worked a little bit, but you'll see us in a tuck. And that's the first thing we do, right arm tuck. I've got the picture of the kid on the screen. I just wanted to show you where he's got it clamped. Then we go to a pin position where it's a breastplate. So now he's got it over his breastplate. He's got his clamp. He's got all 6 points of pressure. When I do give the pin command, I ask our kids to high knee in place and also use their off arm to punish people that are approaching them that want to tackle them. So therefore, it's tuck, we're working arms, it's pin, and high knee with a stiff arm. And then when we cover, I teach them how to cover from the top. Some kids reach from the bottom to cover. We want to cover from the top, both tips. When you get tied up, your momentum is stopped. You always want to compete to fall forward, never want to fall backwards. And when you teach them too, don't ever hand the ball to anybody but the official, and don't ever leave it just laying around. And so, covers talking about clamps, cover the top, teach players always cover the goal line. That's big for us. If we don't get to the goal line much, but if we do, we're certainly not going to let it go early. We're going to cover on the goal line, and we're going to go run and hand it to the closest official. You can get on the sideline and then congratulate each other, but we're not going to let go of it, act cool before we get there, because every year, college and pro, somebody's going to let it flip out of their arm trying to be cool, and it's a touchback. And so we cover, we demand that, and that's what we ask. So in review, tuck, pin, cover, and I'm going to show you real quick video here. So here's some kids that, again, we came back Tuesday, the 9th, and I said, hey, guys, I need some of you to come out with me outside. I need to video a few things. And so right here, I'm just having them tuck. Your arms control your legs. If you can't carry the ball comfortably, your legs are not going to move. And so it can't be stiff. Activate your shoulders. Just like, we talk about double L's, but you're actually clamping that ball. And so we're moving our shoulders because those legs are going to churn as fast as our arms are moved. If you don't believe me, go outside and jog. Don't move your arms, and then move your arms and see if your legs go faster. Naturally, your legs follow your arm motion. So one more time, I've got 6 here. You get 20 kids with 20 balls. Even if you don't have a ball, make them act like they got a ball, and you're just working on tuck. And again, a lot of them aren't necessarily correct what we want, but that's kind of the idea. And so there was tuck again. And so now let me go to the next slide. And so here's the pin. Pin it over your breastplate and stiff arm, and then cover on the goal line. High knee, stiff arm, cover. So, we wouldn't cut this up. It would be tuck. Coach is going to say pin, and then he's going to say cover. And those are the emphasis of what we're doing. Tuck, pin, cover drill. Don't cover from the bottom. I see the 5th guy down there right from the bottom. I mean, he was a safety last year. So these are just some of the guys that say, hey, man, I'm going to work on some stuff outside, and let's go. Now, this one closest to me was my starting fullback after week 3. I think, he wasn't. He was a linebacker. We converted him. And so he kind of has a clue. So, see, now they got in their left arm. So, we'll go cover, and then we'll go left arm. And then if we need to, you can go right back right. But if you start your drill in right arm, you're going to tuck, pin, cover on command. Left arm, tuck, pin, cover on command. And again, I don't like people to stand in line. So we want as many people working on taking care of the ball as possible. And this is what we would do first day of 2 days as far as just fall camp, just trying to get them acclimated to the ball.